Hey guys, so basically I just wanted to show you kind of the basic gist of the game. Um, I did get more questions this last time. This is a very faceted game, so it's very hard to explain in one video. I myself, when I first joined, had a little bit of trouble just getting even the basic mechanics. I couldn't find like the Grand Bazaar medals. There was a lot of things I couldn't do. So I think the most basic thing at least, is knowing how to upgrade your heroes. So you can see here I have a ton of legendary heroes. And I'll show you how to upgrade them. So obviously you want their level to be max in order to level them. So let me just see. Perfect. So you would level this one to max, but also train them. And you let that go to 100, right? So let's do this. Normally I don't want to train this one, but I'll just use this as an example. And you could upgrade him. You could do this total of 3 times. You could only, before you have to raise the star level. So you see knight +1, and I could do it again to get knight +2, and then max level. And then once I do that, at +2, I could 100% this one again, and max level. And then that'll allow you to get the next star level. But that requires these relics, which you can farm in story. This is why you want to progress in the story as soon as possible, because you access modes where you could farm these relics. And beating legendary allows you to access the modes where you can farm more of them at a time. Whereas in the normal mode, you only get 1 for 1 key. On legendary, you could get up to, I believe, 4 per key. Usually it's around 3. I think 4 is when you're lucky enough to get a chest. But it's 2 to 3 on average. But that's a much better deal per 2 keys than getting 1 for 1. So you do want to unlock that as soon as possible. So that's pretty much how you upgrade them. Just to show you again, this is what a unit looks like maxed and at +2 job level. At this point, it says completed where the job level is, so I can't upgrade it further at the star level, so I need to evolve it into the next step. You can always check the abilities and auras of the unit at a certain star level by highlighting that one, the unit of a certain job you want, and then clicking this little right booklet next to the job level. You see that on the far right above the locked button. Click that, go to skill, and you can see the skills. You could even look at the stats for different faiths and what they look like when they're maxed out or limit broken. I wouldn't worry about limit breaking until you're very far late into the game, but maybe in a later video I'll go over that. But that's pretty much the gist of it. You just want to read the characters, see what they could become, see how they fit in your squad, and etc. For most beginner squads, you just want to make like a trigger team, and that's pretty much every single unit kind of triggers a different one's attack. So to build one, let's see the abilities. So this one, she will trigger allies when she critical attacks. She has a 32% chance to crit as a base, but since she's awoken max, she could make the entire team crit capped at 75%, which is the max percent crit chance any unit could have. So what I would do is pretty much, since this unit crit caps herself, I just treat this as a very good trigger because she could crit 75% of the time, and most of the time when she actually crits, she triggers. So I'll use her. And let's see another trigger. This one. So if we see her abilities, whenever she attacks, she triggers. So she doesn't even need to crit. This one just needs to attack and a 65% chance. Pretty good. Pretty good. And she has that extra stun. Stuns are a little bit more resisted late game, but it's still fine. It still works. Now here's the problem. With these champions, most of them except for very few are melee units. So they're not going to be able to trigger unless they actually hit. So you only want 2 melee or 3 maximum melee units. And for middle and back, you want other trigger heroes, namely archers. The reason why is archers can trigger because it could hit anywhere on the map, right? So you don't need to worry about them not being able to trigger because there's no unit right in front of them. So let's see here. Her. Actually, this is a special case I'll go over. Because she triggers allies and auras to unleash a range attack, that pretty much means that she could get melee units to actually do a range attack. So she actually could really change like how melee units work. So let's add her. And again, when she crits, she activates. So if I get her crit capped at 75%, she pretty much have a 75% chance of activating that aura. There we go. And I could do that with the last unit too. Pretty much the same aura, right? 95% critical hit. The hex thing, it's a good bonus, but it's not the main reason I'm running this team. So once I would get these stats up, this makes a crit square. See how it's like a kind of a square? So each unit pretty much feeds into the attack of the 2 adjacent units, and their auras could activate multiple times per turn, so they could keep on attacking until until the RNG percentage just runs out, and just get unlucky to the point that it doesn't crit, none of the other units crit, and it doesn't activate. But that's pretty much the gist of it. It's pretty simple, to say the least, but it is a very important thing to consider when you first start playing the game. Eventually, this strategy does fall short, but it's only on very late game content. Until then, you could pretty much do massive amounts of damage in a very short amount of turns using this strategy. Where it does fall short later is when enemies have hit counters where it says like once the unit gets hit 10 times in one turn, it stuns the entire field or something like that, where you don't want to keep on having uncontrollable amounts of hits every turn, and you want to use a different strategy at that point. But other than that, this strategy is very new player friendly, and I did want to make this video for new players. So I hope that helped to a certain degree, and I look forward